Hello, savvy savers and curious minds. It's Iggy here from Investing Iguana, ready to unravel another economic enigma. Today, we're diving into a topic that hits close to home for many of us: the cost of living high, why Singapore tops the global list again. Once again, Singapore has been crowned as the most expensive city in the world, sharing this dubious honor with Zurich. As a seasoned analyst who's adept at dissecting economic trends and their impacts on everyday life, I'm here to shed light on the factors that keep Singapore at the top of this global list. We'll explore the intricate details of the Economist Intelligence Unit's report, delve into the nuances behind Singapore's high living costs, and what this means for you, whether you're living in this bustling metropolis or just curious about global economic standings. So, let's get ready to decode the complexities of living in one of the world's most expensive cities. In a reaffirmation of its high-cost living status, Singapore has once again been crowned as the world's most expensive city, this time sharing the top spot with Zurich, according to the Economist Intelligence Unit. This ranking marks Singapore's ninth time at the summit in 11 years, underscoring the city-state's consistent position at the pinnacle of global living costs. Zurich, making a significant leap from sixth place last year, now stands shoulder to shoulder with Singapore at the top of the list. New York, previously tied with Singapore, has dropped to third place, sharing the position with Geneva in the EIU's latest worldwide cost of living survey. Conducted between August 14th and September 11th, the survey compared a basket of over 400 individual prices across more than 200 products and services in 173 cities. Singapore's clinching of the top spot can be attributed to the steep costs of daily essentials such as groceries, alcohol, and clothing, along with the high expense of owning a private vehicle. Zurich's ascent to number one is driven by its strong currency and the significant prices of household goods and recreational activities. Like Hong Kong, which ranked fifth, Singapore's status as a small, densely populated city-state with a flourishing financial center contributes to its high cost of living. The city faces demand-pull inflation, with limited space and a concentration of high-income professionals vying for housing and other resources. The EIU report notes that the global trend of rising prices due to inflation has continued, with a 7.4% year-on-year increase in local currency terms for commonly used goods and services. Though this rate is slightly lower than last year's, it remains above the average from 2017 to 2021. Interestingly, inflation rates in Asia are relatively lower compared to the rest of the world, a factor that has kept other Asian cities from dominating the top 10 most expensive cities list. The average cost of living increase in Asia stands at 3%, compared to a global average of 7.4%. Looking forward, the EIU anticipates a deceleration in inflation rates next year, but cautions that external factors such as the Israel-Hamas war could drive up energy prices, while El Niño conditions could push food prices higher. Meanwhile, the weakening Chinese yuan and Japanese yen have led to a decline in the rankings for cities in China and Japan. Chinese cities like Nanjing, Wuxi, Dalian, and Beijing have dropped significantly, as have Tokyo and Osaka in Japan. The EIU's list of the top 10 most expensive cities includes a mix of 2 Asian cities, 4 European cities, and 3 U.S. cities, with Tel Aviv also featuring in the top ranks. However, it's noteworthy that the survey was conducted before the outbreak of the Israel-Hamas war. In summary, Singapore's position at the top of the world's most expensive cities list is a reflection of its economic status, lifestyle, and the broader trends in global inflation and currency fluctuations. For residents and potential movers to the city-state, this ranking underscores the need for financial preparedness and planning to navigate the high cost of living in one of the world's most dynamic urban centers. Firstly, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room. Being ranked as the world's most expensive city is a double-edged sword. It reflects Singapore's economic success and status as a global financial hub, but also highlights the high cost of living that residents endure. 1. Impact on daily life. For the average Singaporean, this ranking underscores the challenges of daily expenses. From groceries to clothing, and the significant cost of owning a private vehicle, the financial burden on households can be substantial. This ranking's a gut punch for the average Singaporean. It lays bare the daily struggle with expenses, from supermarket bills to clothes, and the ever-looming car ownership monster. Groceries? Forget it. Dressing yourself? A luxury. Owning a car? A financial black hole. It's a tightrope walk, and one wrong step means falling into debt. 2024 is not looking any rosier. Budgets will be stretched thin, especially for those without fat paychecks. We're talking sleepless nights, ramen dinners, and that nagging worry, can I even afford this? This ranking isn't just a number on a list, it's a stark reminder of the daily grind for the everyday Singaporean. 2. Housing and real estate. Housing, that big chunk of our money in Singapore, probably isn't going to get any cheaper. This might seem like a bummer for anyone trying to buy their first place or snag an affordable rental. But there's another side to the coin. A pricey property market is actually good news for people who already own homes or have money to invest in real estate. Their property values are likely to keep climbing, making them richer in the long run. So, it's kind of a mixed bag, depending on which side of the fence you're on. 3. Business and economic outlook. For businesses, particularly in the retail and service sectors, the high cost of living can translate into higher operational costs. However, Singapore's economic resilience and strategic position in Asia could continue to attract foreign investments and multinational companies, bolstering the job market. 4. Government policies and interventions. For shops and restaurants, the high cost of living can be a real pain. Rent, utilities, even the food they serve, everything seems to cost more. This makes it harder for them to keep their doors open and pay their staff. But hey, there's always a flip side. Singapore's still a rock star in Asia. Big companies love setting up shop here, thanks to its strong economy and location. So, even if everyday things are pricey, there might be more jobs on the horizon. It's like a seesaw, one side goes up, the other goes down. We'll just have to see which one weighs heavier in the end. 5. Inflation and global economic trends. While the whole world's been worried about rising prices, things in Singapore haven't been quite so bad. Our inflation rate, which is like a measure of how much things cost in general, has actually been lower than in lots of other places. That's like having a bit of a financial shield around Singapore, protecting us from the worst of the economic wobbles happening elsewhere. It's kind of like having a raincoat when everyone else is getting soaked in the storm. It's not perfect, and we still feel some of the bumps, but it sure makes a difference. So, even though things might be a little rough globally, Singapore's doing okay thanks to this inflation shield. 6. Lifestyle adjustments. This ranking's a wake-up call, a loud one, for most Singaporeans. It's telling us something we already knew in our hearts: living here isn't cheap. Groceries, clothes, even that car you use for the weekend drive, everything seems to be taking bigger and bigger bites out of our wallets. And let's be honest, it's not getting any easier. 2024 might just feel like a continuation of this financial squeeze, especially if you're not rolling in dough. So what do we do? Well, buckle up, because it's time to get creative. We might need to become budgeting ninjas, scouring every dollar for hiding places. We might have to trade fancy brands for practical finds, and that dream vacation might need to be put on hold. Maybe it's even time to think outside the box, learn a new skill, hustle a side gig, anything to bring in some extra cash. This ranking isn't meant to scare us, it's meant to prepare us. It's a call to action, telling us we need to adapt, to be resourceful, to find our way in this not-so-easy economic climate. And hey, who knows, maybe in this adaptation, we discover a whole new way of living, one that's lighter on the wallet, but heavier on happiness. And there we have it, an insightful journey through the economic landscape that positions Singapore at the pinnacle of the world's most expensive cities. We've looked beyond the numbers to understand the why and how behind Singapore's recurrent top ranking in the cost of living index. From the high costs of daily necessities to the challenges of managing life in a densely populated financial hub, we've covered the spectrum that defines living in Singapore. As your guide through the world of economics and finance, it's my aim to provide you with not just information, but a deeper understanding of how these global trends affect our lives. This is Iggy from Investing Iguana, reminding you that being financially savvy isn't just about investments and stocks, it's also about understanding the economic environment we live in. Stay informed, plan wisely, and I'll see you in the next video for more insights into the fascinating world of finance.